Alright, picture this. You wake up one morning, step outside, take a deep breath, and something feels off. You look around, and suddenly it hits you. There are no trees. Anywhere. No towering redwoods. No backyard oaks. No jungle canopies. No scraggly little pines on the side of the highway. Just empty space where billions of trees used to be. And that's when the real horror begins. See, losing trees isn't just about missing some nice scenery or a shady spot on a hot day. Trees run the world in ways most of us don't even realize. And if they were to vanish overnight, we wouldn't just notice, we'd panic. Step 1. Oxygen panic. First, let's talk about oxygen because, well, breathing is kind of important. You might have heard that trees are the lungs of the planet, which is sort of true, but not in the way you might think. Here's the thing. Most of the oxygen we breathe actually comes from the ocean, specifically tiny plants called phytoplankton. So, if trees suddenly disappeared, we wouldn't instantly start gasping for air. But over time, things would get ugly. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and pump out oxygen. Without them, we'd have more CO2 clogging up the atmosphere and less oxygen replenishing the air. That's not great for, human survival. Step 2. Temperature chaos. And speaking of CO2, guess what happens when we suddenly lose the planet's biggest carbon storage system? Yep, global temperatures start shooting up. Trees absorb massive amounts of carbon dioxide every single day, keeping the climate in check. Without them, all that CO2 just hangs out in the atmosphere, trapping heat like a giant planetary blanket. That means hotter summers, stronger storms, melting ice caps, and rising sea levels, all happening faster than we were already worried about. In short, if you thought climate change was bad before, just wait until we hit no trees mode. Step 3. Wildlife apocalypse. But wait, it gets worse. Because trees aren't just standing around looking pretty. They're homes. Millions of species, from tiny insects to massive predators, depend on trees for food, shelter, and survival. Birds nest in them. Monkeys swing through them. Bears, jaguars, squirrels, even microscopic fungi rely on trees for their entire existence. If every tree disappeared overnight, we'd be looking at an instant ecological catastrophe. Species would go extinct at a rate that makes even the worst mass extinctions look mild. And if that doesn't sound bad enough, guess who's next in line to suffer? Yep. Step 4. The food chain meltdown. You see, trees are kind of a big deal when it comes to farming. Their root systems keep soil from washing away. Their leaves provide nutrients to the ground. They help regulate water cycles, making sure rivers don't dry up and farmlands don't turn into dust bowls. Without trees, say goodbye to massive chunks of our food supply. Crops would fail, livestock would starve, and let's not forget fruits and nuts. No more apples, no more oranges, no more almonds, no more chocolate. Yes, chocolate, because cacao trees, gone. Now we're talking about a global food crisis. Supply chains would break down. Prices would skyrocket. Entire economies would collapse overnight. And as people start competing for what little food is left, things turn from bad to apocalyptic. Step 5. Welcome to the Dust Bowl. If losing oxygen, wildlife, and food wasn't enough, now comes the part where the entire planet starts looking like a wasteland. Without trees, there's nothing to hold soil in place. Rain erodes the land at record speeds. Rivers dry up. Deserts expand. Dust storms become the new normal. Cities once surrounded by forests, like New York, London, or Tokyo, now find themselves surrounded by barren wastelands. And without trees absorbing water, flooding becomes way worse whenever it rains. The planet is hotter, dustier, drier, and way more unstable than before. Step 6. Can we fix it? At this point, you might be thinking, alright, but can we just replant them? Well, sure. Except we just lost 3 trillion trees overnight. Even if we planted 1 billion trees a year, it would take over 3,000 years to get back to where we started. And remember, by then, the planet would already be wrecked beyond recognition. So unless we had some kind of sci-fi tree cloning technology, there's no real way to undo the damage in time. Final thoughts. Hug a tree while you still can. So what's the takeaway? If trees disappeared overnight, we wouldn't just be looking at a world that's a little less green. We'd be looking at a world on the brink of collapse. Oxygen levels drop, temperatures rise, food supplies crash, wildlife vanishes, and entire ecosystems fall apart. Basically, trees are holding this planet together. So maybe, let's stop cutting them down so recklessly? Because trust me, you really don't want to find out what happens if we lose them all at once. If you enjoyed this wild thought experiment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into absurd science. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.